Hello, welcome back to Finance Speaks. I'm your host, Kyle Sadler, president of Precept Wealth Management and best-selling author of I'm Retired, Now What? I'm here today to talk about diversification and asset allocation in your retirement portfolio. In our last video, we discussed the importance of why you need your employer's retirement plan. Therefore, to continue the theme of the employer-sponsored retirement plan, today we're going to be covering the understanding of diversification of investments and basic strategies. Once you have decided how much works in your budget, the next step is picking where to invest your paycheck deferrals. At this point, I would like to now introduce to you the baseball analogy. Whoa, much better now. Okay, it's no secret that I am a huge baseball fan. In fact, for those that come into my office, they're greeted by baseball, namely the Astros. For years, I have used this analogy to explain how diversification and asset allocation works, the importance and the roles each individual plays in the grand scheme of managing an investment portfolio. First off, the basics. Imagine, if you will, a baseball field. Don't worry, you don't have to be a sports fan to understand this phase. Imagine the 9 players as they're spread around the field. 3 players in the outfield, right field, center field, left field. 4 players covering the bases: first base, second base, shortstop, and third base. And of course, there is the pitcher and the catcher. Each player, just like each investment option in a well-diversified portfolio, has a specific talent or ability that makes them great for that assigned position. For example, and just looking at the outfield for this example, a right fielder on the baseball team generally has one of the strongest arms on the team because that person must make what is measurably the longest play-action throw in baseball, from right field to third base. The left fielder generally has the better glove of the outfielders because statistically the majority of the hits to the outfield will go to the left fielder. My personal favorite outfielder is the center fielder. With this position, the player is generally the fastest and most athletic player on the team. Because of the placement of the center fielder in relationship to the placement of the other players, this person will have to cover more area of the outfield. With this explanation of outfielders briefly explained, so should they be correlated to a portfolio for this illustration. First, I like to call my outfielders my large cap equity investments. Providing the concept of having 3 outfielders, I like to look at the 3 classifications for large cap equities: growth, value, and blend. These categories possess special traits, just as baseball players. Oh heck, I can name all of my players, well, for the most part. See, I like to call the right side of the infield mid-cap equities because although they are a great foundational need, they don't have the ball hit to them as often as the left side of the infield. Therefore, I call the left side of the infield small cap equities. Small cap equities are smaller companies, generally with a market cap of under $1 billion. Historically, these stocks have the highest performance. However, when the ball is hit to a position in baseball more often than other positions, there is a higher risk. In baseball, there is a higher risk for errors and injuries. In investments, small caps have a lot higher market risk. The next position in my baseball analogy is the pitcher, one of the highest paid positions in baseball. And I call these players international equities. The pitcher has a lot of various risks associated with playing that position. Errors, injuries, time horizon, just to name a few. The top pitcher 3 years ago may no longer be the top pitcher today. Also, the pitcher is the closest to the batter and the direction in which the batter is hitting. A non-baseball fan can even figure out the simple physics of the risk associated with this position and injury. This is why I caution people and say yes, performance in international is attractive, but don't allow it to be the only positional player in a portfolio. The last player I like to give a name to is my catcher, Bonds. Not the baseball player Barry Bonds, but the category of bonds, international, corporate, and governmental. But bonds are boring. Yeah, and the catcher just sits behind the plate. But what happens when there's no catcher? It slows down the game tremendously. Bonds, like catchers, are essential to have in a portfolio. They are the core foundation, and whenever there is not a hit, they're there to catch the better performance. So don't forget those boring bonds. Just as an owner of a baseball team is building a team to play baseball, the owner of a portfolio chooses investments that match their goals, time horizon, and risk tolerance. Also, they choose whom they want to manage the team. Some owners want to manage their team themselves. Others might hire a financial counselor like a financial planner or advisor, which I call these individuals on the baseball team the general manager. Those professionals may additionally hire a qualified asset manager, which I call the coach of the baseball team. Like in baseball, the owner works with the general manager and, in more times than not, allows the general manager to manage the day-to-day operations. Because, let's face it, that's why they hired this person. The general manager oversees the performance of the diversified team. Now, the coach will manage the positions, where they stand, who should be replaced in the game, evaluating the performance, etc. However, there is an interesting concept in coaching that I love to see in baseball games, and that is what's called the infield shift. And unbeknownst to the name, the outfield will participate in this also. When a coach calls for an infield shift, he or she looks at the historical performance of the player coming up to bat. History may show that a certain player generally hits the ball to a particular side of the field, usually the right side. And the coach feels confident that this player will repeat this behavior, that one infielder is moved to the opposite side of the infield in which they normally play. However, even though history has proven so aggressively that the player will hit the ball to a particular area, the coach does not move all of the players there because of the chance that history does not repeat itself and the batter hits it to where nobody is standing. This could be said about portfolio management. There are some times that the market and the historical data are confidently stating that there will be a particular direction where the strongest performance will occur. However, there is always a chance that the data is incorrect. Therefore, like in baseball and any sport, we don't move all of our players for the risk of anomalies in data. Also, what did Grandma say? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. A prudent person wouldn't take their entire life savings to Vegas and bet it all on a hunch. Why would they bet it all on a hunch with the stock market? Just a little tidbit. A great athlete, whether baseball, football, or whatever the sport, will always use the crowd to their advantage, yet ignoring them altogether. The crowds love to coach, give advice, and ridicule. However, that athlete knows how to tune them out. If I were discussing a football analogy, I would be calling them armchair quarterbacks. This could be said for the same for investments. Everybody is always wanting to express their opinion, and of course, theirs is always correct. When not heard, they seem to get louder. Sometimes the best advice is to use your own experience. Learn to tune out those crowds and those talking heads. See, this is your money, not theirs. Do what is right for you. And there it is, diversification. Diversification importance and diversification strategies explained in baseball. Ain't baseball great? I would like to thank you for spending the past few minutes with us and hope that you had gained some takeaway points to remember. The next video in this series is on understanding savings options, and we hope that you plan to spend some time with us viewing that video. For additional financial videos that may be important to you and your financial security, please like, subscribe, and share. Also, don't forget to visit us at www.preceptwm.com for more information and guidance. If you have questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to contact us. I would be more than happy to shoot a video because I know that you are not the only one with that question. For Finance Speaks, I'm Kyle Sadler, headed out until next time. Be blessed and have a fantastic day.